Hello and welcome back to another Walking Dead video, and today we'll be doing another ranking, and today I'll be talking about the worst character in each season of The Walking Dead. So let's jump right into this with season 1, and we have to give this to Ed. There is no other character that's as bad as him, and Ed is clearly the worst character in The Walking Dead. For a couple seasons, like Shane, he's still a very lovable character, even if he's technically the main villain of the first 2 seasons. Ed is way worse than him. Like, Shane has some positive attributes. Ed is just a wife beater, and he's just an all-around bad guy. So he clearly had to be for season 1. Season 2, I'm going to have to give this to Laurie, and this is definitely the worst season Laurie is in. She is so annoying in this season, and looking back at it, it is not as bad as everyone remembers, but Laurie does push Shane and Rick to this point where it looks like she's giving Shane mixed signals, and she goes out of her way to talk to Shane when she doesn't really need to do it. And Laurie's just stirring the pot a lot of this season, and she is really unbearable, like, oh, Rick isn't back yet, I have to go out and try and find Rick. Ends up totaling in a car and stuff like that. Laurie is just really, really annoying in this season. It almost came to Carl. I almost gave season 2 to Carl, but Laurie steals the cake for me. She's definitely the most aggravating character in season 2. Season 3 is Andrea, and there's not much to be said about Andrea. There's no positive things about her. Everyone absolutely hates Andrea, and it's mostly because of season 3. For me, some people might hear because of season 1 and 2, but for me, she was okay in season 1 and season 2, but season 3, she is annoying. She takes the governor's side, and her death is just absolutely dumb. And out of all the characters, she definitely has the worst story in this season. Like, Andrea is definitely one of the worst characters in The Walking Dead, and it's mostly because of how bad she was in season 3. For season 4, I have to give this one to Carl. He is unbearable in this season, and I don't think that's because they try to do too much with Carl too early. Like, they're at the point where Chandler Riggs is now 14, and they think, okay, let's try and give him more to do. He has a whole episode to himself, he has this little arc going on, and I think Chandler just wasn't ready for this amount of responsibility on The Walking Dead. If they eased us a bit more of Chandler and let Chandler develop as an actor, he won't be as bad. But I definitely think Chandler definitely develops a lot more in the later seasons, but then they give him less to do. And that really does suck. But Carl in season 4, I just cannot stand. He's definitely the worst aspect of this otherwise fantastic season. For season 5, it has to be Nicholas. He's only in 5 episodes, I think, of season 5, and he's unbearable. He is just this weak, cowardly character, and the only good thing about him is his pairing with Glenn, because if he was paired with anyone else, he would be straight up outmatched. But that nice little personal villain for Glenn does work. However, other than that, he's just so annoying to watch, and what really sucks is that they don't really give him a redemption arc. All they really do in these 5 episodes is have him be a coward, have him fight Glenn, shoot Glenn, I will add, and then Glenn spares his life, which is just so dumb. And moving on to season 6, and we have to give it to Sam. Even though he's a child, he is unbearable, and that's definitely the way he is probably written, but I still cannot stand him. Even though it's the point where it is, okay, we have to give it to Sam, okay? We can't say much other than that then. He was just an annoying character, and the only good bit about it was when Carol was like teasing him and being like, if you scream, walkers will get you outside the walls. That was the only good bit, where Carol was just kind of bullying this child low-key. But I absolutely hate Sam. He's definitely the worst part of No Way Out, because you have this cool aspect with the walkers finally being a threat again after years, and then you have Sam inside the walls being annoying. His death was great, and him being the reason that his mum dies is pretty good. But just the lead up to that one moment, cannot stand this character. Season 7 is Jadis. Everyone knows that Jadis would be in season 7 or season 8. But Jadis, absolutely annoying. The way she talks is just so dumb. And her inclusion in this already bloated season just makes it so much worse. She is pointless. She doesn't really add anything to this season other than, oh, we have this big plot twist at the end where the scavengers are on the savior team. Pointless. Like, she doesn't add anything good, and all she does is take up screen time and just be really annoying. Now, season 8, you might think I say Jadis again. However, she was almost it, but Daryl. This might be a bit controversial. However, Daryl is absolutely unbearable and the most stupidest character in season 8. Season 8 almost ruins Daryl for me, and if they didn't spend 3 seasons building up Daryl again for me to like him again, Daryl would easily be on one of my least favorite characters list, just because of how badly he was written in the Savior arc. Daryl is the reason that the war gets extended by another 8 episodes. And absolutely everything he does in this season just makes me like him less and less. And by the end of the season, I'm just done with Daryl, and I wished he died during the war. That's how much this season made me absolutely hate Daryl. For season 9, I have to say, Magna. She is absolutely pointless. She adds nothing. They add in 5 big characters just after Rick leaves and Maggie leaves, and they're like, here's 5 new main cast members. And the only ones that get time to shine are Connie and Luke. And you get a bit with Yumiko later and a tiny bit of Kelly. But Magna does absolutely nothing. All she does is in the first couple episodes of introduction, oh, she's an ex-prisoner. Michonne's like, I don't want you in our group. And then Magna's like, bruh, I'm going to go and attack you or something like that. And then after that, and once they head to Hilltop, Magna does absolutely nothing. She is absolutely pointless and probably should have died on the pikes and gotten Luke's comic death. But instead, she is there in episode 16 and does absolutely nothing. And the reason she's here is just because of how bad and how little she does. Season 9 is a season that doesn't really have any bad writing. It has a lot of cast. That's probably its only issue, just the amount of cast. And because you have all this cast, some characters, like Magna, get absolutely nothing to do and they're just there. And that's really why she's here. She's the character that's given the least amount to do. There's no characters that annoy me more than a character that does absolutely nothing. Now for season 10, and I almost put Carol, to be honest, because Carol can really annoy me in season 10 when rewatching it. However, I'm going to give this to Brandon. Negan's a little fanboy, and he's only in a handful of episodes. He has one big role in the Negan Escape episode, and he's just in little cameos before then. But Brandon really has this presence, which I really hate. He is just there to be Negan's fanboy, and he's talking about, oh, back in the war, when the war is meant to be this entire decade ago at this point. And it really feels a bit out of place in this season. I just really did not like the Brandon aspect, and them having Brandon do these evil things for the sole purpose to make us believe like, oh, Negan's good now, we're going to bash it over your head that Negan's good, instead of having a more organic way. Brandon's just there to make Negan be good. He's just there to show, and he doesn't really have any point. And that's really why I do not like Brandon, because he's just sitting there reminding us of the worst seasons of The Walking Dead over and over again for an entire episode. And it's really just one episode. And he really ruins that episode, I have to say. Brandon really ruins that episode for me. Now, for season 11, the final season, and I could give this to Pamela, but no. Pamela has some use. I have to say Pope. He's absolutely pointless. He is the worst character in season 11 by miles, and that's because he doesn't even meet any of the good guys. He does absolutely nothing, and what they should have done with Pope is merge him with Leah and have Leah be the leader. Maybe just have Leah go under the codename Pope, because you only have 9 episodes for this arc, and they just waste him. Pope only meets Daryl, and the only thing he does is trust Daryl for some reason, and then dies by his own men. That is Pope's entire role in this arc. And you have this setup in season 10 about Pope, Mark and Maggie, but Pope and Maggie never meet each other, and the big meet you want to see is Pope and Gabriel. That never happens. They had so much potential with Pope, and he is definitely just the most wasted character because he does nothing, and that is why he's my pick for the worst character in season 11. But this is just my opinion, so please tell me down below, what is your opinion? Do you agree with my picks for the worst character in each season, or do you have a different list? I'll let you know all your thoughts about the Walking Dead universe in the comments down below. But this is it for me today, so make sure to like and subscribe to keep up to date with all things Walking Dead. So goodbye, peace out, and I'll see you in my next video.